from here. Thank you very much, Ernestina. I think that was a brief one, and then I hope we all understood what she just did. So what Ernestina just did was she just took us through the interface for Excel. And then let me say this interface is basically for Excel 365. So most of you realize that your Excel homepage or your Excel interface looks a bit different from what our sister just shared with us. That is just because that is a typical Excel 365 account. There are so many features that are similar when it comes to both 365 and then a normal Excel. But with all, I think we can all arrive at the same answer. So I'll quickly share my screen. A minute. Okay. So I hope you all can see my screen. Hello?
Yes, please.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I'll quickly take us through some parts of the Excel interface, and then we quickly move on to some of the shortcuts that are very necessary if you want to move through Excel with ease. So first of all, let's talk about the header. So anytime you open Microsoft Excel, you realize that you see this at the header, and it is very particular when you open any other Microsoft software. You realize that when you open it, you are going to see the header, you are going to see the quick access toolbar, you are going to see the command tab, you're going to see, so the same thing applies to Microsoft Word. So if you are keen on using Microsoft Word, you realize that most of the features here are also in Microsoft Word. That is because it is a Microsoft product. So all of them work hand in hand. One day we'll go through how to merge Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Word to broadcast an email. We'll get there, I think, somewhere in the season 2. So our sister took us through the interface for the Excel. And then let's talk about this one. So down here, we have the view buttons. So if you are in Excel, you realize that you have these 3 buttons down here. These buttons help you to control how you view your Excel interface. Please, I hope that is right. When you come beside it, there is a zoom slider. Now, this one helps you to zoom in or out of your Excel interface. For example, I just zoomed in, and you realize that it's looking small on the page you are viewing. And then when I viewed out, you realize that it is getting closer and closer to the text. So that is that about the Excel interface. Please, is there any other question? Any questions? Okay, so now let's move to the shortcuts when it comes to Excel. Now, you realize that you can have access to Excel both on Windows and then MacBook. So here are some shortcuts when it comes to you maneuvering or moving around Excel interface, both for Windows and then for Mac. Now we are going to focus on some specific ones, and then the rest, the files will be made available to you to go through them as the day goes by. So first of all, let's talk about formatting. Under formatting, there is Open Format Cells dialog box. That is Control+1. There is the bold, which I know most of us are aware of. That is Control B, italic, Control I. I think these ones, we are familiar with them. Let's go to the borders. Now, these borders are to help us present our Excel interface in a lively manner. What I mean by that is you can't just upload data and then just send it to your boss as reports that you are doing. No. These borders will help you to arrange the Excel interface using lines so that it becomes very easy when any other person is reading through it. So we'll do a practical on that. Then we go on to the paste special. Paste special. Now with a paste special, anytime you copy, you have the option to just paste whatever item you copied, or you can paste special. So what does paste special mean? For example, let's go to our practical sheet and then copy this one. And let's try and paste them here. So realize that it is giving me a paste options. Now, what does this options do? I have the first one, that is just the normal paste. So if you do Control C, Control V, this is what you get. We have the next one, which is values. So when you paste, you are only going to get values. Now, mind you, you realize that the headers for these particular, the branches are in bold. But when we pasted in values, you realize that the bold just left. Why? Because we just pasted the values. So Excel will just paste the values. This normally happens if there is a formula in your Excel sheet. So if there is a formula here, for example, let's do sum. If there is a formula here, and I copy and then do my normal pasting, you realize that the formula still comes here. Please, I hope you get it. You realize that the formula still shows. That means any editing I do here, let's say I take the 35 out, you realize that it has reduced the figure here. You get it? So that is what the copy and then paste does. It copies whatever item you copied and then paste the exact thing. Even if it includes formulas, it will copy the formulas and paste them as well. So that is how the normal copy and paste works. So let's quickly use the other one. Remember, there is a formula here. So when I copy this, and then I'm pasting, now paste special, I'm using values. Now, this option just pasted the values from what I copied. So when I click here, you realize that there is no formula. Please, I hope you get it. There is no formula here. Why? Because it just copied and pasted the values. That is how the paste, when it comes to pasting values, that is how it works. Let's do the same thing and move on to the next one. Now, this one in particular focuses on the formulas. So if there is any formula here, it will copy the formula and then paste it. I think we need to go in details when it comes to this one so that you see the difference between the paste formulas and the normal copy and paste. So we'll get there as well. And then we have the next one, which transposes. Now, what does transpose mean? You realize that here, the headers are up here, but here it is in the row H. That should tell you that the Excel, using the transpose function, Excel has rotated, how do we call it? Has rotated the data we just copied. So that is how the transpose works. The same thing if we copy, let's move to the next one. If we copy and then we paste using the formatting, what do you see? Nothing happens here. Nothing happens here. Why? Because we just pasted the format that is used here. So let's do a typical example. Let me color here green. And then let's populate this side with another set of data. So branch F, then okay, then let's do a little bit of change this F. Please, if you don't understand anything, you can quickly write them in a comment section. Our leaders will quickly read them out and then we help you out. Okay, so let's quickly populate. Okay. So when I copy and I'm pasting the formatting, what do we see here? You remember this place was colored what? Green. So you realize that when I pasted the formatting, it has copied the format that we used, the color, and then if we did any other additions, it's copied only that one and then paste it over whatever we pasted on. So the colors we see here, you realize that that color has had effect here. Why? Because we pasted using formatting only. So these are some of the features when it comes to paste special. The shortcut for this is when we copy, your hand should be on Control Alt V instead of the normal Control V. Control Alt V. I think it's here in our shortcuts. You can check them out. So you realize that we pasted using formulas, we pasted using values, we pasted using formats, comments, and node validations. There is also, you can also do any addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division using the paste special. For example, if I want to multiply the values that I just copied, all the values, if I want to multiply them by 2, all I do is when I copy and I'm pasting, I paste special, Control Alt V, and then I go to multiplication. Please, I hope you get it. When you click on it, it's, sorry. Multiply. And then, oh, why is this? Control Alt V, and then you go to multiply, and then there's supposed to be another. Okay, so I'll check on that and then get back to you guys. So what this actually does is, whenever you do a copying and then you want to paste, you can paste and then add to the values you've already copied, subtract from the values you already copied, multiply with to the values you already copied, and then do any division. You realize there is also the transpose here, which we saw when we did the copy and paste with the mouse. So that is how you go about paste special. So the next thing we want to talk about is the borders. Now, what is a border? Let me quickly. Okay. So you realize that initially, the data we had has some lines in it. If you bear with me, that made it very easy for you to read through the data. But here is the case. This data has been, how do we call it? The lines have been removed. And then making it very difficult. I think this data is even clear. So let's say okay. So let's say I have this data looking very, very, very clumsy. Without any lines. You can see that it looks very clumsy. So when you are trying to send this, let's say you worked on a report, you are done, and then it looks like this. If you try to send this to your boss, probably the next thing you hear is you're fired because it looks very clumsy. And then reading through the lines becomes very, very difficult. So what do? You use the borders, the border lines to quickly add some deep lines to the borders. There is also a situation where you can remove all the grid lines in your Excel interface, just for it to remain with a white background. You can see that this has even made it worse. There are no lines for you to be able to follow, and then it makes the work look very, very, very clumsy. So what do you do here? You quickly fall on the border lines. How does the border lines work? First of all, you need to select the data. So let's quickly work with this one. You quickly select the data you want to apply the border lines with. This under home, there is under fonts, there is this particular feature called border lines. Please, I hope you get it. So with the border lines, when I click on the drop down, it is giving me so many options. This one gives me a bottom border. That means when I click on it, it only brings the line at the bottom. And then the next one also brings a left border. So when I click on it, it brings the border to the left. So all these features are under, how do we call it, border lines. So we want to make this work look attractive. We want to make this work look readable. So what do? We quickly go down and then select the all borders. Why all borders? Because when I click on all borders, it rules line in all the tests we copy. So that is what the border lines does. So let's quickly work on this one. So to easily select this data rather than you going now, I think most of us are familiar with this data. Most of us are really familiar with this data. So instead of you using your mouse to drag and copy, I think you finish somewhere next year. At that time, you are done with Christmas and you are still dragging down just to copy. So quickly, your hand should be on a Control Shift, and then you use the arrow keys to determine where you want to, the direction you want to copy. So let's say I want to copy, I want to go down. So Control Shift, and then I use the down arrow. Control Shift, down arrow. Still my hand on the Control Shift. I move my arrow keys just for it to copy the entire test. Please, I hope you get it. So you realize that when we go through, this test has, all the tests has been highlighted just with some few clicks. So just imagine you sitting down and then you scrolling through this just to copy this. Please, I hope you get it. So this feature will help you to quickly copy, especially when when you have large data. So imagine you have a data that is even more than this. We're talking about 100,000 data, and let's say you're working with Qatar, and they are doing some analysis on those who visited the stadium. You want to check the age range and all that, and imagine the number of people in Qatar right now, and you're supposed to do just a border, and you are still using the mouse to scroll down. You realize that it will take you forever. So this is just a simple trick. Now, when you still want to copy just a portion of whatever item you want to copy, you can just be on your hand should be on the Shift key, and then just use the arrow keys. You realize that with this one, it is copying everything one after the other. So if you want to copy just a portion of the file, you just make sure your hands are on the Shift key, and then just use the arrow keys to play around. I know it will take some time for most of us to be very familiar with this, but I bet you, if you get to know this, it is really going to help you a lot. So with a data like this, we can quickly copy with our mouse. And even that one, I can do Control Shift, then I use the arrow keys just to copy it as simple as ABC. So back to our border lines. So Control Shift, down arrow, then we use our arrow keys to select, and then we come to our border lines. Then we select what? All borders. You realize that it has ruled a line between all the data we have. To quickly space this, you can click on this arrow or Control A, so that it highlights the entire sheet. Just double click on one part of the lines, then you realize that it spaces out everything for you. And then imagine sending this as a report, even though this can't be a report. Imagine sending this as a report. Comparing this to what we did at the beginning, you realize that this is far better. So these are some of the tricks and tips when it comes to Excel. So the border lines, there are so many borders you can use. For example, these are those who had bronze medal. So imagine you want to do a total. Most of us will do equal to sum. Even some of us will go to the extent of doing equal to, and then be clicking them one by one, and then be bringing our plus button. So J 8,632 plus. Then we go on to the next one. Then we do plus. So imagine you are doing this. How are you? When are you going to finish? When you have a data set like this. So the simple way is equal to sum. We use it. You realize that Excel has some built-in formula pop-ups. So when you type anything relating to the formula, you realize that it gives you details of all formulas that starts with whatever you type. So remember, we typed sum, and it's giving us sum, the sum function, the sum ifs. I think we'll go detailed in that as time goes on. So sum equals, and I click the first one, Control Shift up arrow. Now remember, it has selected the bronze medal, and we don't want to sum the bronze medal in addition to this. So what do? Our hand on the shift arrow, we can bring this down. I hope you get it. Our hands on the shift arrow, the shift key, and then we can use our arrow keys to bring it down. So using our arrow keys, we can just be maneuvering around. So with this one, when I press enter, it is going to give me the total. So now, let's say I've written total here. I want to present my work in a very nice way. So I highlight this one. I go to borders, and then top and double button border. When I click on this, it makes the work look very simple and classy. Please, I hope you get it. So these the border lines, even though it looks very simple, it just helps make your work very, very readable. Please, I hope you get it. Okay. Please, if you have any question, as I said earlier, you can drop it in the comment section. Our leaders or our tutors will quickly read them out, and then we help you with it. So that is that about the borders. So we've talked about paste special, the copy, and then the paste special. And then we've talked about the borders. Now let's talk about the format painter. This particular guy you see here is called the format painter. It's always under home. So under home, the clipboard, when you just use the mouse pointer on it, it gives you a brief detail of what it does, the roles it performs. So format painter, you can read through in your leisure time, but for now, we can quickly go through it. And then, so we have these two sets of data, this one and this one. And then let's say we are not focusing on the rest because most of the features are in Microsoft Word, and then we have just 6 weeks. So I think we should focus on those that are really important so that it will help us more. So I have the borders here are in black. Borders here are in black. We want to use this format on this. How do we go by that? We want to do it as simple as ABC so that we won't have to be manually editing this, selecting, and then coming to your, how do you call it? Your font color and then your fill color, just to make sure that it looks like this. So the simple way to do this is just to select this one, click on the format painter, and then just paste it here. So what do you see? It copies the format here and then paste it here. Another example. Let's copy this one. We want to use the color here. We want to copy the color and then probably use the color here. And let's even make this place bold. So we want our first 6 lines here to be bold, and in the color should also be green. How do we do that? We select where we want to copy the format. We use the format painter, we click on it. You realize that there is a line that has hovered around the selection we did. What does it mean? It's telling us that something has been copied or a selection has been made. Then we come to wherever we want to paste, and then we paste. Please, I hope this is clear. So the format painter, it lets you how do we call it? Copy a format and then just paste them without struggling. Please, I hope you get it. So let me do a typical example. When we come to the intro of our course, there is Excel for productivity. Let's say you are creating a new sheet, and then with a new sheet, you want to copy the format that we used here. You want to copy. So what do? You copy, select your format painter, you come to the new sheet, you just paste. What do you see? The color that was used for the front page has been used here. Why? Because we use the format painter. So instead of you going through the stress of coming to fill color just to pick the same color, sometimes that is where the headache is, using the same color for everything. So you have to come to your fill color and then make sure that you get the same color. So most of the time you realize that the colors are not here in the color fillet. So you have to go to more colors just to make sure that you select the right color for whatever you are doing. So the simple way is just to use the format painter. You select whatever item you want to select, click on format painter, go to the sheet you want to paste the format you copied, and then select, and then the format painter apply whatever item you copied. Please, is there any other question? Okay, so in the absence of any question, I think we need to move on to how to maneuver around Excel without the mouse. How to maneuver around Excel without the mouse. Now, you can bear with me that imagine you are working, and then you are going through Excel without a mouse. That should tell you that this particular guy knows what he's doing, because going around Excel without a mouse means you are a top-notch Excel user. Now, this one doesn't come with just a day's practice. It is something that you should practice continuously. And as you practice, you realize that these tips will be on your fingertips. So how do we maneuver around Excel without the mouse? How do I go to insert or page layout or formulas without the mouse? How do I do that? Now, when you click on the Alt tab on your keyboard, it brings out, please pardon me to use my my mouse pointer just to describe some items to you. So you realize when I click on the Alt, it brings out some keys on the various ribbons. So this is file is F, home is H, insert is N, page layout is P, formulas M, data A, review R, view W, automate Y1, and then the help Y2. So if you want to go to, let's say, file, you are done with whatever you want to do, you want to save it. When you click on F, it opens anything under file. Now you realize that even under file, even under the file, there are still some letters attached to every icon you see. So imagine maybe I want to save. I want to use save as. So you realize that save as is A. Save as is A. So when I tap on the A, it brings me to where I have to do my saving. I select my location. If I want to browse, I tap on O. You realize that browse is giving me O. I tap on O, and then I'll browse my location where I want to save the file. As simple as ABC. So let's try and do the border lines without the mouse. First of all, let's start with this one. So how do we do that? We use the arrow keys to go to where we want to do the selection. We use the shift key and then the arrow keys to play around just to do the selection. So your hands on shift key and then you use the arrow keys to do the selection. Now that you are done with the selection, you tap on the Alt. Now the Alt bring out the letters on the, how do we call it? The letters on the various ribbons. So please remember that when you want to use the borderlines is under home, this particular home. So when I tap on the H, now you realize that it has gone on to give me more letters. So if anything I want to do, I just have to click on. The bold is giving me 1. So if I want to bolden this, I can click on 1. I can tap on 1 on the keyboard. Italic is giving me 2. Underline is 3. And then what we are looking for, border lines, is giving me B. So if I want to do the border lines, I tap on B. Now, which kind of border do I want? Do I want the top border, the left, the right, or all borders? There are so many options. So which one did we choose initially? We chose the all borders. And then all borders is what? A. So I tap on the A, and you realize that Excel will beautifully bring the border lines to whatever selection you made. Please, I hope you are clear. So the data, the file, the Excel file will be sent to the Google Classroom platform. Please let me bring this in. Certification after the program is going to be based on your assignments, the assignments that we are given. I am sure Mr. McNeils made mention of that. So there's going to be certification at the end of this program, and then the certification is going to be based on the assignments we do. So assignments we posted on the Google Classroom platform at the end of every lecture. So please make sure within after an hour or two, or within the same every Saturday, you check on the Google Classroom platform, and then make sure you do the assignment and submit them before the deadline. Please, I hope you are okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and then perform the borders on this particular set of data. Please remember, when you use Control-Shift and then you use the right arrow, it copies the entire data to the last one. Now let's bring an example here. This is gold, this is silver, this is bronze. Let's see, we are adding diamond. So let's say we are adding diamond. Now watch this, Control-Shift right arrow. We didn't add the diamond because there is a space. The whole of column K is empty. Please, I hope you get it. The whole of column K is empty. So when I do Control-Shift and I use the arrow keys to select, it doesn't copy, it doesn't add diamond. Why? Because there is a space on column K. So if I want to go ahead and copy the diamond, I have to be on the Shift key alone, and I use my arrow keys to do the selection. Please, I hope that is fine. If you have any question, please make sure you drop them in the comment section, and then we'll duly address them. So you use the arrow, the Shift key only when you want to select a portion of the data. So I want to select just the first 5. What do? My hands is on the Shift key, and then I use the down arrow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it selects the data that I want to select. Please, I hope you are clear. But if you want to select the entire data in the direction you want, please make sure your hands is on Control-Shift. Then you use the arrow key. And let's use the down arrow key. So realize that it has selected all the data. Please, I hope you are clear. So that is how the selection works. That is how the selection works. Okay, so we are applying the border on this particular data set. Remember, we've we've selected the data we want to apply the border on. When we press on the Alt key, the various ribbons have been given a specific letter where we can choose from. We want to go under home, so H. And then we want to use the borders, that is B. And then we want to use all borders, that is A. So you realize that it's carefully apply the borders on all the selection you have made so far. So these are just to make your work very easy and then simple. Please use the format painter when you want to copy any format and then paste it on another set of data. Make use of it, and then the more you make use of it, you realize that it becomes easier than ever. So that is that about the border lines. The same thing if I want to go use conditional formatting. For example, I want to use conditional formatting. What do? I select the data I want to apply the conditional formatting on. I use Alt just to bring the letters on the various ribbon. Conditional formatting is under home. So we go to home, that is H. And then you realize that conditional formatting here is L. So if I want to use conditional formatting, I click on L, I tap on L, on the keyboard, and then it gives me a whole set of options to choose from. If I want to highlight cell rules, top/bottom rules, data bars, that is, data bars is just, you can represent the data you have in bars in each of the cell. Please, I hope you get it. So mostly you apply it to numbers. So let's say this particular set of data is numbers. So you can apply the you can apply conditional formatting and then choose, let's say, data bars. Which one do we want? Let's say we want to use the first one. So we just enter. Now you realize that it has given us bars in each of the cell. So 8 is, let's say, the highest. So the bar has been elongated. Now you realize that 0 does not have any bar at all. Why? Because the figure is 0. So these are some of the ways you can present your data, just for it to be very easy when any other person is reading or is looking through your data. So with this kind of data, when anyone scrolls through and then he or she sees just empty bars here, he or she can quickly conclude that the person had 0. So these are some of the ways we will go deep into conditional formatting. Please, any question? Because silence means concern. Any question? Any question?
I think some people wrote in the chat box. So
please, if you have any question, you can raise your hand and then.
Emmanuel.
Yes.
Yes, please. Miriam Jambra wants you to assist her with the paste special. She says she missed that. So if you can go through it again for her.
Okay, so quickly we'll go through the paste special. So if you have forgotten anything at all, whenever you do your selection and then you copy, Control-C, or you right-click and then you click on copy. Now you realize that there is a paste option here under the home. Under clipboard, there is a paste option here. When you click on it, it gives you the various forms or the various formats in which you can do the posting. Please, I hope you get it. The same way you can go to where you want to do the pasting, and when you right-click, it gives you the various options. So you can do the normal pasting, you can paste the values, you can paste the formulas, you can transpose the data, and then you can paste only the formats. Please, I hope you get it. And then if that what you copied, you want to transform it into a link, you can as well paste it as a link. So let's say you are copying a link from the web into your Excel file. You're providing some details in whatever research you are doing. You can paste the copying that you did. You can paste them in the form of a link so that any person that taps on it will quickly will be directed onto that page. So let's do some examples again with a paste special. Okay, so with the paste special, please remember, for those of you who weren't online, when we did the copying, we tried posting them in the various options that was given. So let's do that again. We copy and then we paste. Now, the pasting, remember, I've showed you guys 3 ways of doing the paste special. You can either come under the home, under clipboard, there is a paste option there. When you click on the drop down, it gives you the various options. The same way you can right click at where you want to do the pasting, and then you select from the options that has been given under the paste. For those of you who want to let people know that yes, you did, you can use the keyboard shortcut Control Alt V instead of the normal Control V. So let's do an example. So here, Control Alt V, and then it gives you the format in which you can paste. So you can paste the formulas, the values, the formats, comments, and note validation. Now, under operations, remember I was telling you that you can as well add some operations to whatever item you copied. And this only happens when you use the Control Alt V. You get this option. Now, I'll make further research into this, but you can do additions to the data set that you've copied. You can do a subtraction. You can multiply the data set by a particular value, and you can divide by a particular value. So for this particular option, the operations, it's you get them under the keyboard shortcut Control Alt V. So now let's do the pasting, the pasting in the various formats. So the first one is the normal pasting. Please remember that I said with this particular one, it pastes whatever item you copied. For example, if I did sum here, remember that the last cell is a formula that calculates the sum of the various branches. So if I copy, and then I'm pasting, when I paste, I do the normal pasting. What do you see here? You realize that it copied and pasted the formulas as well. So you realize that when I click here, it gives me the formula. Please, I hope you get it. It gives me the formula. In other words, when I change, let's say I take 35 out, you realize that initially it was 500 and something, but it has reduced. Why? Because the formula is still in play. Please, I hope you get it. That's fine. So now let's go on to the next one. So the next one is paste values. So when you do the pasting, you realize that for this one, when you click even on this one, it doesn't give you any formula. It gives you the value there. Why? Because you pasted just the values. So you realize that even in the headers, the formats here are not applied. Please, I hope you get it. The formats here, the green color, the black, and then the white you see here are not applied. Why? Because you copied and pasted just the values. So with this one, if there is any formula in the work you did, for example, let me take the 35 out, you realize that it is not having any effect on the total because we pasted only the values. Okay, so now let's move on to the next one. These are all important. I think as time goes on, we will delve into the reasons why each of them is important. So under formulas, now this one as well comes with the, the formula that you copied. It works like the normal pasting, But there is something unique about this. As time goes on, we will know when to copy and then paste formulas, and then when to copy and paste the normal way. Please, I hope you get it. So this, when you paste formulas, it also comes, it copies the formulas as well. So when I take 35 out, it has had an effect on the total value. Now let's move on to the next one, where we copy and we transpose. Now transpose here has just turned everything. It has turned the data set we copied. How? You realize that the branches were up here, but now they have been aligned here. Why? Because we did a transpose on what we copied. So the total is here. And mind you, it also copies the formulas as well. So anything you copy and then you transpose, it pastes and even adds the formulas that are in the data set you copies. Just that it is just going to transpose the data or rotate the data set you copied. Any formula that is in the data set you copied is going to be applied. Okay, so that is how the transpose works. Okay, sorry. So we move on to the next one, where we paste as links. Now, we paste formatting. Now you realize that with this one, it didn't copy the data set or the values. All what it did was to copy the style of the data we copied. It just copied the style. So remember, with this particular set of data, we applied all borders, and you realize that it has the borders and then applied them here. We made the top black, and then you see that the same thing has been applied here, and then here has been colored green. Realize that it has been the same thing has been done here. So this one doesn't copy the formulas or the data. What it does is just to copy the formats that you are copying, the format of the data sets you are copying. Please, I hope she's clear. Hello, Tina.
Hello.
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 Yes.
Yes. She
So
hasn't
please, I
gotten
hope.
back yet, so I'm sure she's fine.
Okay. Okay. So that is how you go about
Sorry,
the.
Emmanuel,
Yes.
can you go over the transpose part? She said she didn't get that part very well.
Okay. So with the transpose, all it does is it will copy the formulas that are in the data sets you are copying. For example, branch A, the total for branch A is 562. Realize that the formula is showing here. So all what transpose will do is just to rotate the data set. So let's copy this one and then transpose. So you realize that the colors were copied as well. Here was green, and the same thing has been applied. And then, so all the formats, including the formulas. So you realize that here, the formula picks the sum of branch A, 70, 97, 37, 35, 42, 281. And then the total is 562. The same thing here. So what is happening? It just rotated the data set that we copied. Please, I hope you get it. It just rotated the data set that we copied. It will apply the format that you copied. It will apply the format, including the colors and then the borders and everything. It will copy everything as well, including the formulas, and then just rotate it. So that is how the transpose works. Please, I hope you are fine.
Yes. So
Hello.
she wants to know where to click to get it transposed. So if you could do the control V for her to see.
Okay. So let's clear. So let's do the copying here. So let me demonstrate everything. So we copy. Now when you're pasting, you have the option of using this side under home and clipboard. You realize that there is where you will see the format painter. Mind you, you can as well copy from here. You can copy, you can select the data. Realize that this one is copy. So if you don't want to use the mouse, you don't want to use the key, like you don't want to use the mouse right click, you can just copy from here. Go to the cell you want to paste, go to paste special, and then this particular icon, when you hover around it, it's called transpose. When you click on it, the transpose is going to work. That is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is that you can copy. Let's copy from here so that everyone sees. And in the pasting, you can right click. Now under paste options, you have the various paste options. When you hover around it, it gives you, when you hover around it, it gives you a preview of what it is. So this one is paste, this one is values, this one is formulas, this one is what? Transpose. And what are we looking for? Transpose. So you click on the transpose, and then you realize that the transpose has taken effect. That is the second way of doing it. Now the third way of doing it is going with the formulas. How do you do that? You do the copying, you copy, you go to where you want to do the pasting, Control-Alt-V will bring out the paste special dialog box. Now, what do we want to do? What do we want to do here? You want to transpose. You realize that the transpose is here. So when we click on transpose and click on OK, our data set will be transposed. So there are three ways of going by that. You can use the formulas. You can use the paste special, the space special option here after copying. And then you can as well right click, and then the paste options are also here for you to choose from. Please, I hope you are fine.
I'm sure
Hello?
she is. I'm sure she is. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, she's fine. Okay,
Okay.
so the next question is Gilbert wants you to show them how you rank the highest value in columns.
How I rank the highest value.
Yes.
Is it talking about the conditional formatting?
Conditional formatting, yes.
Okay. So let's quickly select the data and then let's clear the rules. Please, I hope you guys saw what I just did. So initially, there were bars in the data set. When I select the data set in a conditional formatting, there is what we call clear rules. When you click on clear rules from selected cells, it clears whatever rule that you have set in the cell, and then your cell is back to normal. So how did I do the conditional formatting? That is the bars in the data set that I have. Now, because we want to show bars in each of the cells, we will normally apply it to numbers. You understand? Because with numbers, you can tell that 10 is greater than 8. You understand? So for the bars to make sense, you can use, you mostly apply it to numbers. So first of all, let's apply it to these ones. Let's quickly clear this and apply it to these ones. So the easiest way is Control-Shift, and use the right arrow, use the down arrow for it to copy, and then Alt. Remember, conditional formatting is under home. So H, and then we want to use conditional formatting, so L. Now we want to use data bars. And you realize that data bars here is D. So I quickly tap on D, and then it gives me so many options. It gives me this one, it gives me this one, it gives me, so you realize that the color difference, there are some color, the colors are different. So you can just select the color you want. Okay. For me, I went to St. Augustine's College, so I like anything green. So this is better. And then it clearly gives you the bars. So you realize that 387 is the highest. So the bar there shows a full bar. 282 is also higher, but it's less than 387. So the bar is not full. So this particular function called conditional formatting, it takes into consideration the highest amount or the highest value in the data set you have selected. So the highest value is going to have the tallest bar, followed by the next highest value in that particular order. Please, I hope you get it. So let's apply that here to our data sets. So Control Shift, use the right arrow and down arrow just to select the data we want, and then Alt H L to go under conditional formatting. Then we go on under D. Now under D, you can use your mouse and your keyboard arrow keys to hover around the ones that you want. So we chose green, so green, and then the bars count. So here, the data, the original data itself has the highest value at the top. That is 8. So 8 at the top, that is the highest value. So you realize that the bar is longer than 6. The bar is longer, 6 is longer than 4, and the 1 in that order. But you realize that those with 0 as the values has no bar. Why? Because the value is 0. Please, I hope you are clear. Hello.
Hello, Gilbert. Okay, so I'm sure he's fine because he's not responding.
Okay. Okay.
So you can move on.
Is there any other question? Is there any other question? Please mind you, there are going to be assignments. So try as much as possible to ask any question you don't understand so that we
Hello, sir.
clarify
Can you
them
hear me?
here before we move on.
Question.
Any
Olivia,
questions?
please go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know if you have answered my question. I popped it in the chat, but I want you to know the first step to use this Excel without a mouse. Only the first step.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Please, I get you. Can you continue?
Yeah,
Hello.
that's my question. You know, from what you say, there is a shortcut when you
Yes.
put the numbers in the home, insert, page layouts without using a mouse. So I just
Okay.
want to know that shortcut.
Okay. So he wants to know the shortcut for using the keyboard, going through Excel without the mouse. So probably he wasn't here. So anytime you tap on the Alt, ALT, closer to the Windows button on the keyboard, when you press the Alt, now you realize that there are series of alphabets or numbers that comes on each ribbon. So if I want to move on to the View tab, what do? You realize that View here is W. So when I tap on W on the keyboard, now it gives me the option to, it also breaks down whatever is under View with alphabets or, oh, sorry, I think, and then W. So it gives me whatever item under View. Sorry, I just pressed, okay. So it gives me whatever items are under the View tab. So under View tab, remember, I have hidden all the grid lines. So let's say we want to bring back the grid lines. Remember, this has been toggled off. So if you want to bring the grid lines back without the mouse, please note that it has given you, if you want to do that, it has given you the option to select VG on your keyboard. So when we do VG, you realize that now the grid lines are showing. Please, can you see that at your end?
Yeah.
Yes. So anytime you press on the Alt key, it brings letters or alphabets and numbers on the various tabs. So anywhere you want to go, you follow the alphabets or the numbers that has been displayed. When you tap on it, it takes you to, let's say you want to use a formula. You press M, it brings all the formulas. That's how do you call it? Not all the formulas. I think this formula side is a bit restricted. There's so many formulas, Excel, especially those using the 365. There are so many formulas that are coming on board, and it's very crazy. Yes, just to make your work very easy and very fast. So that is how you go about using the keyboard for maneuvering in Excel. Please, I hope your question has been answered.
Yes, well answered. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so any other question?
Yes, Ikea Nkrumah has raised her hand. Ikea, please, you can go on with your question. Hello,
Hello,
Ikea.
Ikea.
Yeah.
Hello, please, am I heard?
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you.
Thank you very much. I wanted to ask if the transposing is done depending on the angle of selection. Because when you were selecting, you selected from the top left corner. And then when you were transposing, it transposed the first row and then the first column of the various rows and columns. So I'm asking, would the transposing change if you select from the bottom right corner?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ikea. So let's try what Ikea just said. So let's copy from this side. From this side, Control Shift up arrow, then left arrow, and then let's copy Control C. Let's go. I'm doing this without a keyboard, please, because I'm aware most of you are aware of how to go around Excel without using the keyboard. So let's say I'm in column O. So I can move my mouse point, my arrow keys to where I want to start from. Control Shift up, Control Shift left, Control C to copy. And I go to where I want to do the pasting, Control Alt V, and then I use my arrow keys to go to transpose. Now let me make mention of this. If you
Emmanuel,
want
please,
to
we
use,
lost you. We lost you for like 10 seconds. So if you could go back.
okay, so I'm trying to do the transposing without the keyboard, without the mouse, sorry. So I go to where I want to start my copying from. I want to start here, and then Control Shift up arrow, Control Shift left arrow, Control C to copy. And I go to where I want to paste. Let's say I want to paste, or let's say I want to paste here. Say I want to paste here. Control Alt V, the pasting. Now, if you use the arrow keys, you're moving around. I'm using the down key now. What do you notice? You're noticing that the 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 keys only moves at the upper portion. Remember, there are lines here that are separating the various options. Please, I hope you get it. So to move to the next section, that is operation, use the tab key to move. Then now you can move around operations. So now I want to move to the last part, that is this side. So I use the tab key again, and I go to transpose. I click on enter. Sorry. Okay, then I click on enter. So it's transposes whatever item that I copied. Now, what do you notice here? You notice that whether you copied from left to right, right to left, top to bottom, bottom to down, it always transposes from this side to this side. Please, I hope you're okay. It always transposes. So the top part will come first in the first column. Then branch A, the figures under branch A will come. Branch B will come. Branch C will come. So it doesn't matter the order of copying. Any order you use, it is going to give you the same results. Please, I hope I'm clear.
Yes, please. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Matthias has his hand up, so Matthias,
Okay.
please, you can go on with your question.
Okay, thank you. Please, I wanted to ask if Excel has the option of maybe ordering numbers.
Matthias, please, can you amplify your voice a bit?
Okay, can you hear me louder now?
Yes, it's better now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was asking if Excel has the function of actually ordering numbers. Let's say maybe like the branch A that you have, if I want to order the numbers in such a way that from the maybe the highest to the lowest or from the lowest to the highest, can we actually do that here?
If you want to, please, can you come again?
Like if I want to order like the numbers that you have there in your cells from maybe the highest to the lowest or the lowest to the highest, can Excel actually help with that?
Okay, so I'll answer your question, but let me say this. Excel is built for numbers, not just numbers, but for you to be able to manipulate numbers. Excel was built for that. So anything you can think of doing with Excel, my brother, I'm telling you, you can do it. So let me answer your question. Yes, you can. You can sort. We will go details in that. You can sort the figures. So let's use this as an example. Let's clear rules here. Especially with the new 365 features that are coming. There are so many amazing things that are in there. And when time permits us, we can go there. So let's say we want to sort this one from the highest to the lowest. So what I did was I just copied the data set. Let's use silver. Control Shift down arrow to copy the data set. When I right click, you see sort. Now sort is giving me from sort smallest to largest or sort largest to smallest. And there are other options here. So any order you want to use, you can select them from here. However, for this particular thing, there are so many ways of going around it. And then I won't want to bother you with that. We will go a little bit into tables in Excel. In Excel, when we talk about tables, this is not a table. The table is let's talk about that a little bit. So when I press Control T in my data and I press OK, you realize that Excel has gone to the extent of formatting my data for me. I can go ahead and then select the style I want here. Please don't be confused. We'll go a little bit deeper in that. You understand? So if I want to sort gold medals, you see, it gives me the option here: sort smallest to largest, sort largest to smallest. So there are so many ways of going around that. Please, I hope your question has been answered.
Yes, please. Thank you very
All
much.
right, fantastic, fantastic. Please, is there any other question?
Yes. There's Ronald has his hand up, but before Ronald comes to ask his question, I want to inform you all that there's a link in the chat box where you have to sign and then you have to input your attendance in the link. Just a way of assessing you all. So it's very necessary for you to input your attendance in the link that we've put in the chat box. Thank you. Ronald, please, you can go on with your question.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
please, the bar part, can you go over like my network? So I was logged out.
Okay. So we are talking about, please, I don't want to hear the bar parts. I want to hear conditional formatting. That tells you that you know what you're about. So that when you want to bring a bar or you want to show a trend in a cell, you can go ahead and use the conditional formatting. How does it work? So you select the let's use only gold medal. So Control Shift down arrow to select my data, and then Conditional formatting is under home, so H. Sorry, I forgot to press the Alt. So Alt first, and then H. Sorry, I think I need to go over that again. Push it down arrow, Alt key, and then H, L for conditional formatting. Now, I want to use data bars. Remember, it is called conditional formatting because it helps you to format your data based on a particular condition. Please, I hope you get it. So it is not just for data bars. You can, when you go here, top or bottom rules, you want to look for the top 10%. When you click on this, it automatically gives you the top 10% of the data you selected. Please, I hope you get it. Bottom 10%, above average, below average. It can give you all those informations. Highlight cell rules, greater than. You want to get a list of people who had greater than 1 medal. When you click on it, it will sort it out for you. Less than, let's say 2, or between this and that. So that is what conditional formatting is for. It gives you an option for you to sort your data based on a particular condition. But even with this, there are several ways of going around it. If you know someone who knows what he or she is about, he or she won't waste your time on conditional formatting. There are so many ways of doing that. So as you are starting up, I think it is best you know all the features in Excel. That is why we are doing this. So when you go under data bars, it gives you so many colors here. And as I said, I went to St. Augustine's College, so I like anything green. So when you select the green, it populates the selection that you did with bars. Now the first cell is 8. It has 8 as the value there. And then you realize that the bar is longer than 6. And 6 is also longer than 4, the same as 1. But realize that those that are with 0, let's look for a 0. They have no bar. Why? Because the value there is 0. So conditional formatting takes into consideration the data set. What is the highest number? What is the lowest number? And then it brings the bar according to the figures. Please, I hope your question has been answered.
Yes, thank you.
Fantastic. Please, any other question?
Yes, so Sylvester Osabute has put in the chat box that he wasn't here when you were speaking about the summation of value. So if you could quickly go over for him.
Okay, summation. We didn't really talk about summation, but it just came to pass through. So let's just do a quick example. Let me clear rules here. Let's take this off. Okay, so with summation, we'll go a little bit deeper into this on our next meeting. We'll talk about this into details. There are several ways of doing totaling whatever you want to do. So many ways of doing that. And then one of the simplest way is just to input your formula, sum, as I illustrated. If your data set is not mean, if you have a data set like this, if you have a data set, let me clear. If you have a data set like this, your data is not mean. You want to find a total for this side. You can go ahead and do equal to, and then click the cell, come and do plus, equal to, click on the cell you want to add, then you come and do plus, then you select, come and do plus, then you select, come and do plus, then you select, come and do plus, then you select. Before you finish, now you call kataba. You understand? So one of the easiest way to go around this is to input the formula equals to sum. Now Excel has a built-in feature that populates the formulas when you are typing. So for example, I want to divide. When I choose, I want to, let's say, do something different. if I type, let's say, filter, is I'm using 365. So these features are not, filter is not in a normal Excel. So when I type FI, realize that it is giving me so many features here. Excel has been built in that way. So we want to use the sum. And with sum, there are so many ways of summing. Some if, some ifs, some product, some SQ. And most of these are because I'm using Excel 365. And then I'll try as much as possible for us to go around this using the normal Excel, so that I think most of us are familiar with that, so that we don't get confused in any way. So when I type my formula and then I choose what I want to do, when I press the tab key, that's my selection for me. Like, it opens the brackets where I can do my selection. So I want to sum this one from F4 to F8. And I close my bracket. When I press enter, it gives me the total. Please, I hope you understand. And then when you click, now let's talk about this. When you click, you realize that there is, when you click in every cell, then down here, there is a deeper, it looks very deep. Please, I hope you can see that. In any cell, there is a deeper part. That is what I'm hovering around. So when you're done with the formula, and then you want to do the same sum function for this side, for this side, and for this side, you don't necessarily have to come here and come and input your formula, come here, come. You can just click here, click, and then hold on that black part I was talking about, and then drag it. It gives you, it sums the various sides as well. Please, I hope you get it. We'll go a little bit deeper into this, how to use this feature, how to use it. For example, if you want to, you are writing 1, 2, 3. Sorry. 4. You are writing 1, 2, 3. Let me do this here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You are doing this. You're writing 1, 2, 3 to, let's say, 100. When you just double click this, or you click and hold this and drag down, it's populate. It picks the first. It picks the first the pattern. It picks the first 4 that you wrote. When you click and drag here, it picks the pattern and then applies it. So Excel know when you wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you click and drag. Excel, you're trying to tell Excel that, please, with the pattern that I have made in the first 4, continue in that way for me. And when you click and drag downwards, it will follow that pattern for you. So yes, that is how you go about the sum function, and then we'll go a little bit deeper in that in our next meeting. I hope that's clear. Hello.
Yes, I'm sure that's
Yeah, clear.
yes, yes.
Fantastic. So there are a lot ahead of us. All I would say is, let's buckle our seatbelts and meet us halfway through. It shouldn't be a one-sided something. Excel is something you need to be practicing all the time if you want to master it. And I bet you, if you master Excel, there are so many options out there for you. Yeah. So any other question?
Please, the recorded. Where would we get it after the class?
Okay, so the recording will be in the Google Classroom platform. I don't know if you are aware, but the facilitators will help you through on how to access the Google Classroom portal. So all recordings, all files after the class will be uploaded on that platform. Assignments will be given on that platform as well. So the facilitators will guide you on how to access them and then do your assignment and submit on the Google Classroom portal. I hope that's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, once again, please fill the assessments so that we can use it for the assessment at the end of the class.
Okay.
The link is in the chat box, so you can just go into your chat box and then click on it and then go ahead with it.
Okay. So I think we on our intro, on our topics, what is Microsoft Excel? Our sister Ernestina took us through that, the importance and the use of Excel. So looking at all that we've done, I said categorically that one thing Excel was built for is data. Now, Excel has so many rows, so many columns. So the kind of data you are working with is not restricted in any way. You can manipulate data in Excel. So one of the most important features in Excel is to manipulate data and then arrive at the solution or the results that you want. So we will try as much as possible, if time permits us, we'll try and then look at how to create dashboards, how to look at trends when it comes to using data, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into that. So the Microsoft Excel is basically for you to be able to manipulate data and then arrive at a given results. And then we talk about the format painter, where we realized you can, instead of looking for a particular color or from in your Microsoft Excel, you can quickly select whatever you want to copy, the format, click on the format painter, and then apply it to whatever selection you did. So for example, I have copied this particular part. I use the format painter. When I apply it here, you realize that it has given me the green background, and then it has copied, it has given me, how do you call it, the white, the font now has turned into white. Why? Because this place, the background was green, and then the font color was white. So that is one thing about the format painter. And then we talk about the copy and paste special. Well, with the paste special, we went through 3 ways of doing the paste special. One is after copying, you can, example, let's copy this. After copying, and then you go to where you want to do the pasting. You click on the drop down here. There are so many paste options that you can choose from. So if you want to paste just the values without copying formulas, you go ahead and then use the values first. You go ahead and use the values. So if you want to, so that, as I was saying, for the paste special, there are so many options. If you want to paste values, you realize that under paste values, the format is not applying, it's just applying the values you copied. So it's not having a green background and a white font. And then the same thing so the rest, I think we spoke about the rest as well. And then we also talked about number and text formatting. I think for that one, let's talk a bit about that next week because our time is fast spent. So a quick one on that. When you have any number, let's go to our practical data. If you have any number, you want to change the number into percentage, you want to change into fraction, you want to change the number into time, you want to change the number into any format in which you want, you can quickly do that by under number, under home button, under the number, you can do that here. So if you want to use the general, you select. If you want to use a number, now the number has the 0.00 at the end. Realize that our data has no 0.00. So if we want to use that particular format, when we click, it brings 0.00 to the end of the data we have selected. The same thing applied if you want to convert our our data into currency. Excel has this inbuilt currency symbol that is dollars. So when we click on the currency, right, that it has changed everything into dollars. The same can apply to if you want to change your if you are doing accounting, that is basically the same as the currency to change everything into the currency. Just that with accounting, the dollar symbol is not attached to the figure. It is isolated from the figure. Yes. And then there are so many. So there are so many options. You want to convert it to time, percentage, to convert everything into percentage for you. So that's about the number formatting. That's formatting. We talked about you can, after selecting your data and a font, so many things you can do. You can change the font type. You can change the handwriting of the font. You can change the font size as well. And then you can either increase or decrease fonts with these features. you can bold, you can convert your data into italic format, and then you can align them as well. And then our main boss, the border lines, is just to make your work look clearer. So if you want to apply border to the left, to the right, to the beneath the figures or above it, it just under this, it has all the features that you need. If you apply a border and you don't need a border, you can select the data as well and then come back to no border. It will clear all the borders in the selected cell. So you realize that as I click no border, it has removed all the borders that were applied to this particular range of cells. And then we have the font color that determines the color of the fonts you are typing. If you want to change the color, you just hover around it and then you just choose the color that is favorable to you, just to make your work look very attractive. So there are several ways of going around the format, the the number and then the text formatting. Sorry. And then we also talked about conditional formatting, where people call it the bars. The bars, yeah. You can also use that one to remember it all the time. So conditional formatting is here. If you want to manipulate your data according to a particular condition, you can have so many conditions here. You can use the directions to show. So the green will show if a trend. Maybe you are comparing 2 months sales that you made in 2 months. So you can find a difference between the sales and then try and see if it's increasing. So if it is increasing, it will give you the green showing upwards. If it is the same thing, it will give you this one. If it's going down, it will give you this one. So the directional signs also very important, depending on the kind of data set you have, and then the answer you want to arrive at. That is about the conditional formatting. And then the border lines, I think we spoke about that. And then how to maneuver around Excel without using a mouse. So with that one, we talked about it. When you are in your anywhere in the Excel sheet, when you click on or tap on Alt key on your keyboard, it adds alphabets or numbers to the various ribbons where you can choose. So if you want to go to review here is R. So you can click on tap on R on the keyboard, and then anything you want to do. If you want to check spelling S, you can go ahead. If you anything you want to do under review, the numbers or alphabet has been attached, so you can go ahead and then do whatever changes you want to do with that. Please, any other question before another facilitator comes in? Any other question?
Please, can you go over the conditional formatting because I don't get that place.
Okay, sorry. So conditional formatting, as the name implies, you use it when you want to group your data or manipulate your data based on certain conditions. Please, I hope you get that one. So how do we go about that? First, make sure that the data set you want to manipulate is selected. I did that by holding on a Control-Shift key and then using a down arrow just to select my data. And then I go to conditional formatting. What do I want to do here? Do I want the top or the bottom rules where I can get the top 10%? Let's click on that and let's see what happens. So with the top 10%, remember here is 10 because you're looking for the top 10%. With light red fill with dark red text. So any of them that are above 10%, top 10%, that are within the top 10%, sorry. When you click on OK, and then you go through the data set, it will be highlighted. So you realize that, sorry. So you realize that those that are above the top 10% are highlighted here within the data range. So when you go through the data, you realize that most, if not most of them have been highlighted. So automatically, you know that those that have been highlighted are the top 10% of the data you selected. So it's a condition, and a condition is you're looking for the top 10%, sorry, of the data sets you have selected. I hope that is fine. And when you do apply a conditional formatting and you want to clear it, please, you don't tap on delete on the keyboard. You go back to conditional formatting, you go to clear rules, clear rules from selected cells, and then it clears the rule that you applied. The same way, if you want to apply the bars or color scale, now what the color scale is, it does is it's how do we call it? It provides you with a colors in the data set you selected. So for example, let me select this. So it is giving me this is green, yellow, red color scale. So when you click on it, you realize that those that are deep green are the highest values. So 6 is higher, but you realize that 8 is more deeper than the 6. Why? Because 8 is greater than 6. The same thing, 6 is more deeper than 4. 1 is very light. I hope you get it. It's a condition. So conditional formatting helps you to do that. If you want to do data bars, let's clear this rule. If you want to do the data bars, as I said, you select the data and the conditional formatting. You select the color you want. You can go to more rules and then specify on the rule you want. Or, as I said, they call St. Augustine's College. So I normally like the green color. So when I click on the green color, it gives me bars in the data that I selected. So the bars are based on the highest and then the lowest number in the data set. So the highest number here is 8. So you realize 8 has a longer bar than 6 in that order. Please, I hope your question has been answered.
Yes, thank you.
Please, I hope your question has been answered.
Yes, thank you
Okay,
very much.
fantastic. You're welcome. You're welcome. So is there any other question before Macmills comes in? Any other question? I'm taking the last question because our time is almost up. The last question. The last question, please. Okay, so in the absence of any other question, assignments will be made available to you on the Google Classroom page latest by tomorrow evening. That is Sunday. So that is how it's going to happen. After every class, there's going to be an assignment. Latest by the next evening, so that you practically do whatever we did and then apply them to the data sets we provide. So the assignments will come with instructions on what you should do. If the assignment said do addition using the plus, please don't go and put equal to sum. Please try and follow the instruction. Let us know that whatever we are doing, whatever has been taught, you are really following. So thank you very much. At this point, I'll hand over to Jonathan McMills to continue from here. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, and you've all done well for staying with us till this time. So, with regards to our Google Classroom, the class has been set up already. I've sent the link to your page. Okay, some of you are not on the page, so I will email the link to you as well so that you all join the Google Classroom. We are going to update you with the videos as well. We'll make the videos available to you so that you take your time whilst you are watching the video, then you go through the process. If not, you'll not be able to practice all that we are doing within these 2 hours. So the videos will be available, but always make sure to join the online class. We are going to take attendance, and that also counts when it comes to the assessment. For now, we have a YouTube channel, we have the classroom, and then there is LinkedIn page and other social media platforms that I'll be glad if you follow us, especially the YouTube. We are going to have weekly videos that it will be teaching us simple and basic tricks when it comes to Excel. So we'll be uploading some videos on YouTube as well. So you can subscribe to our channel, and then you get feedback when we post over there. So thank you very much. In case of any information, we will email it to you or send it to your WhatsApp platform. In case you've not been added to the WhatsApp platform, please, the number is a lot, so we will add you to the page. Thank you.
Okay, so at this point, till we meet next week, it will be a bye-bye.
Okay, so someone is asking about our handle on all social media platform. It is Best Grade Services, either YouTube, Twitter, Gmail, or sorry, LinkedIn, Instagram, all the other platforms. Facebook, we are on all those platforms. So you just search for Best Grade Services, and it's the same for all. All right, thank you,
Thank you so
and
much.
have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Please soon to the WhatsApp platform. Some of us are not